All right, so what you're looking at here is a sample Bachman from the Commonwealth Corporation. This is the Bachman that is provided with IDMS. This kind of is a sample to show you, an idea of where the data is coming from. It describes all the relationships between the various records in IDMS. And so what you can generate from, or the DBA, I should say, can generate from the Bachman is a schema. It's the IDMS schema punch, and it looks something like this here. And so all the record names are in here. In this case here, we have record name coverage with information about a VIA record or a calc record, as well as all of the metadata information describing the field types, if there's redefines, if there's repeating fields. It's all going to be in this IDMS schema. What tcVISION does is it takes this IDMS schema as the input for its repository piece, and then it's going to build out the target system. So if I go back here to our control board, we have our metadata repository where we can have any number of databases defined. And if I expand IDMS, we have some things here for employee and coverage. So I'll just step through the import process to kind of show you how that works. So let's say import. And now we're going to go ahead and select our input object, and we'll specify the targets. And we want to have replication, so it's going to build out both the source and then generate all the target information for us. We're going to have our output information here for what we want to write to, just to give you an idea of how that looks. You would specify whatever your output target name is, my target, specify your data type. So if you want to go AWS and select your connection string, it's going to ask you questions about what type of database do you want to connect to, select the database, and then specify your information, connect to the database itself. There's a little icon you can click to validate the connection string. In our case, we already have a previously defined connection to a SQL Server database. So we have my target here, going to replication database and say next. And now we'll go ahead and select our schema punch. And so we'll come over here and select our schema, say next. And now we have a list of all of those same records we were looking at before. And so if we select expertise, say next. In this case here, it happens to be a junction record. And so tcVISION gives us the option if we want to check any owner IDs we want to specify for our junction. So next, and now it's going to ask us additional questions in terms of what type of code pages are we using on the mainframe, for an episode code page, an ASCII code page for the target system, removing prefixes or adding prefixes. A lot of times with IDMS, there'll be various numbers associated with the records, and it's up to you if you want to keep those or not. And then finally, it's going to ask us the name of our target table and what case we want to use. So put things in lowercase and say next. And now it's going to finish and begin writing items here to our target system. And we've added expertise. So we can go ahead and say edit and pull this into our repository editor. And we see the owner keys that we added from the previous import screen, as well as the database key that comes along from IDMS itself. And as I mentioned in the presentation, you can double click on any of these things and see information about the data types. You can click on on the headers, and we can see the APSI, in this case here, it's an APSI data type, where the schema punch came from. There's any type of IDMS specific information in here. We can also double click on any of the linkages, and we have options to do condition, which is our filter. So we want to filter on a certain parameter, we'd specify, whatever the field is we want to do filtering on, and then whatever our values are. Or if we want to use, there's a regular expression handler built in, so we can go to the handler and specify whatever expression is. And tcVISION will use this to, to either accept or reject incoming transactions from IDMS. It works kind of the same way for the processing rule, except the processing is actually used to do some type of extra transformation to the data. And this could be something as simple as just adding a new field to the end of each table. And on that field, you want to specify a timestamp of whenever tcVISION performed the change, or whenever the transaction was created in IDMS, or the timestamp of the commit from IDMS. These are all various functions you can put in.